Today I'm just going to do a quick overview of what is required for the development shell to be complete. This here I have a sample course. It's a pretty simple course. There isn't a whole lot in it, and your courses can be a bit more complicated, but this has the basics of how your course should be organized and what should be in each of those sections. All right, so if I start here, here's my course navigation, and your course navigation should be pretty similar to this. Some instructors might have a few things that are added here, but you don't want to make it too complicated. If it's too complicated, it makes it difficult for the students to navigate through it. We also want to mostly stick to this format so that students that are taking multiple courses at TCC have a pretty good idea of how to navigate courses in general here. So the first section that we're going to start with is the course home, and adding a course home page is a little different than the other sections here that I'm going to talk about, and this section is actually going to be a module page. So to add a module page, you'll go up to the plus and make it a module page rather than a content area. And when I do that, I end up with yours will be blank to begin with, and you can add these little course modules, and you can go ahead and choose whatever course modules you think are most important for your course. And the great thing about these is that it allows you to have a snapshot of the course and some of the important things that are in it. I've added the announcements, a to-do list, our 24/7 support phone. You can have the course navigation, although I don't particularly like this one, so I don't know if I recommend it. But to add course modules, you just go up here and you can add or remove any of them. In fact, I might even just remove that course navigation. But you have lots of choices, and depending on the needs of your course, you can look through these and decide which ones you think are going to be helpful to your individual students, whether you want to show them a snapshot of their grades, the announcements, the schedule, any of that stuff. Maybe for an English class, you might want a dictionary or a thesaurus or other kinds of tools like that. And so you can go and choose whichever of those that you like. And so that's going to be the course home. And so that's kind of an area where once the students are familiar with the course, that's where it's going to open up to. The next area, and this one is really important because this is where your students are going to learn how to navigate through your course, what the most important things are to get started. And that's your start here, getting started, something like that. Okay, so when I open that, what you need to have in here, you need to have a little welcome message. You can talk a little bit about yourself, who you are, where you come from. But then you need to have your course overview along with your course objectives. So these are what the students need to know by the end of the course. And later we're going to see in the lessons that we're also going to have the lesson objectives, which are the same thing basically, but the ones that only relate to that particular lesson. But here you're going to have your overall course objectives. And I only have a few because this is just a very basic sample course. I put in a section about the course navigation. I just make a quick little outline about each of the sections in my course and what they are so that the students have an idea here. And then I'm going to have some helpful resources, things that this might be personal to you in your course. What do the students need as resources? And again, this being a very simple course, I don't have much here, so this will depend on you and what your students are going to need, whether it's textbook resources and stuff like that. Anything else in your start here that students need to get started, feel free to add that. That's what this section is for, how they need to get started, their orientation to your course. Next thing is announcements, and this should populate automatically and you don't really need to do anything to get started with it. But announcements can be used for a lot of different things. You can remind the students about tests, remind them about all kinds of different things. Maybe you've made some changes to your course midway through it, then you would add that to announcements. You can use adaptive release in order to have these announcements pop up on the dates that you specify. So if you want to populate some of those ahead of time, like the reminders for tests and quizzes and upcoming things, then you can do that ahead of time, or you can just wait until they are needed and add them at that time. That's up to you. And start here and announcements should be populated automatically. Start here, you would add it as a content area. Okay, so to put that in there, you add it as a content area. Next one is syllabus. And I'm going to add that also as a content area. And then what you can do to add these is go ahead and just go to build content and then add them as an item. And when you add them as an item, you can just put all of the content in there. Okay. And I have two items in here. One item where I just put the link to the syllabus that the student can download, and another one where I copy pasted the actual syllabus. And the reason why I put both of these is so that if a student just wants to quickly look at it from this page, they don't necessarily need to download it. Maybe they're on their iPad or their phone or something and they want to quickly look at your schedule or something like that, then they can see the syllabus from this page rather than having to download it. On the other hand, other students may want to have a downloaded copy, so you want to give them that option as well. The syllabus, you're going to have all your course information, your due dates, your calendar, all of your course expectations, all of that stuff should be in the syllabus so that the students can access all of your course policies. The next section is the lessons. Lessons you'll also add by just adding a content area. So my lessons, you can do them a couple of different ways. Some instructors will do it by unit, where when you open the unit, it's actually going to cover several weeks of instruction, but it covers a certain topic or something like that. Other instructors will do it by weekly lessons or something along those lines. However it is that you do it, what you want to do is you want to build a file or a content folder for each of your lessons or units. And you're going to put all of the information inside of that. And when you create that content folder, all you want to have is a title for the lesson along with a very basic description. Don't add all your objectives and all of that stuff to the folder itself. We'll put all of that inside once we get in there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and open up this folder, this lesson 1, and we can see what should be inside each of these lessons. So in here, you're going to have a course description, and this one's kind of short, but here is where you're actually going to want to have your longer description, even though this one's not very long, but have your longer description here. What do they need to learn and what do they need to do in this lesson? Your lesson objectives, what are they going to learn? And this is very important, your week's action items, or basically a to-do list. What do they need to actually do to complete this lesson? And these three things are super important. They need to be inside every lesson. Below that is just going to be your content, your videos, your PowerPoint presentations, any assignments that you have. If there's a quiz, you can pop it in there. So you can put all of that stuff in that folder. Okay? And so that's my lessons, and all of my lessons are going to basically be the same way. I open this one, I'm going to have my long description, my outcomes for the week, and my action items or my to-do list. Then I'm going to have all of the actual content, assignments. You may have discussion boards in there. All that stuff is going to go in there. Okay? My next section, I have discussion boards, and this is optional whether you want to have this be a content area or whether you would rather it just be within your lessons. And as you can see in this lesson, there actually is a discussion board right here, and that's an acceptable option for you. You can just have them within the lesson because that's what they need to do in the lesson. So they can click and open it up right there, or if you want to have all of your discussion boards in their own spot, you can make it a content area and then they can see all of the discussion boards in there. So that's optional. Some of these are pre-populated. They just come in Blackboard. If you have any other sections that you want to add as content areas, you can add it below all of these things if you feel that they are important. Just make sure that you're not adding so much that it becomes cluttered or redundant. So that's about it as far as your course organization. I just want to point out a few notes about as you're building your course and how it should look. This course, I don't have one built into this course, but a nice option is to add a course banner. And what that would do is it would be a nice image that's going to display up at the top that says the basic information about your course. And it looks nice to do that, although I don't have one that's in here right now. We want to avoid using the themes. It's easier to read. if we don't have any bright colors and lots of busyness in this. And the course themes are, they add a lot of colors, and sometimes they add things that are not acceptable as far as ADA compliance. So we want to avoid those. Another thing, if you notice, if you look through my content, I don't use any, for ADA regulations, we can't use any underlining, colored print. Okay, if you want to use emphasis for things in your course, what I suggest is that you use bold print, or you can make a few things a slightly larger font like we can see here. Okay, but they cannot have any colored print or underlining or highlighting in these. Okay. Also, you want to make sure that as you're typing these out, that you use headings and some organization in that. All right, so that's about all that we have for today. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us over in e-learning. Thanks.